wonderful and beautiful team. It's great working with you guys. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon if you're over here where I am. Yes, looking forward to giving you an introduction to the Oxford Ski Company. I'm not expecting you to remember everything, obviously, that we discussed today, and I'm sure there'll be some questions, whether it's during or after. Always happy to answer questions because it's quite a big topic. But basically, this slide summarizes it. Just one call to us gives you access to the finest luxury residences in the Alps. And I think that is a crucial starting line because you could look at our website, you could do lots of research through our website, but in the end, actually just get in touch. But here we are. I'm going to give a summary of who we are, what we do, and why it'd be wonderful to work with you guys. So yes, I started the company 25 years ago. Important to that because it hasn't just been something that was drummed up in the kitchen over COVID. This is a meaningful and serious business. And it's wonderful to celebrate our 25th season, which has just been and gone. And we took more people away than ever on skiing holidays to the Alps, which was fantastic. But it's not just myself. There's a team of about 30 people here who are individually all experts in their field, whether it is selling chalets, hotels, or organizing the holidays themselves. And that's really important to us. Everyone who works in the business are passionate skiers, passionate about the service industry, and passionate about the destinations that we work in. It's very niche skiing, so it's important for us to employ people who really get it and understand it, because there are lots of moving parts on the skiing holidays, because it's a sport, because of the weather, because of the mountains, and we want to be the experts in advising people on it. So yes, we're about 29 here. We've all had far too much time on the mountains, but we do work as well. We cover all the resorts that we list. We regularly attend family trips to keep ourselves fully abreast of everything that we know and love about skiing in the European Alps, in France, Switzerland, Austria, and Italy. I suppose it's those three things that really resonate every time we make a booking for someone. It is about our experience. 25 years means we have an extended kind of black book of contacts to help benefit any of our clients during their stay. Good example of that is when someone is booking last minute and they really want to go. We've got availability in a lovely hotel, but we need 5 private ski instructors, and it's the busy weeks and it's festive season. We know who to go, where to get these things. So that experience builds up not just a wealth of knowledge, but a great list of people who to go to in good times when we need them. They're all experts. As I say, we just do skiing, and it's important for us to have good service, as you would expect, I suppose. But it really is important. Customer service to us is something we work on all the time. It's all very well writing it down on a bit of paper, but how do we improve it? How do we work on it best? And, just to a point, particularly as we're talking to you in the morning over there, yes, in our afternoon here, but, we want to try and get back to everyone the same day. We're very happy to arrange calls, at a time to suit you in your day to make sure we can get to the end goal quicker. So we're very flexible on our hours we work, particularly when working with people who are not based in the UK. So what does our team here give you access to? A large portfolio of properties. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that the map on the right-hand side is not the accurate map of the world. It is our ski map of the world. And we've taken a bit of Europe on the top right-hand side, which is what we're here to talk about. So the main countries we work in are France, Switzerland, Austria, and Italy, which basically cover the European Alps. We do also sell USA and Canada. It'd be remiss of me not to mention that. But I think for the purpose of this and our success at the moment is for clients coming into Europe to ski, because I'm assuming when you've got clients skiing in North America, you know who to go to and where to go to. And there's a little bit of Japan, as you can see mentioned there. So our portfolio is very extensive. It's broken down to 3 parts in terms of product. Hotels, about 180 odd hotels, all in that 4-5-star bracket, 90% in the 5-star bracket. Chalets, sometimes known as villas, but what we call chalets are private homes. These are some of the most amazing, beautiful properties, I'm going to say in the world, actually, because they're owned by some of the wealthiest people in the world. But these are like mini hotels. These are chalets which are serviced to the highest standards. Something which is definitely you find more in the Alps than you do in North America, this product. And it's a very much a core part of an offering that when people want to ski in the Alps is available. We also have now condos or apartments about, I say now, the last few years, a few hundred of those, which I haven't listed on this slide. You all know about hotels, because I'm sure you'll see them all the time. And there are beautiful hotels around the world. There are brands of hotels that we know, whether it is Four Seasons or Cheval Blanc. I think, yes, we very much offer that, and and it's something we can help with and do want to help with. But I think today I just want to focus a little bit on that luxury chalet experience, that private home experience, because it's a little bit unique in some ways to what's out there, and it's a really core offering. But it doesn't mean we can't help you with hotels. Of course we can and do want to. I had a good example listening to one of the team next door just now, and a client looking to go to ski in Courchevel 1850 in France, an amazing ski resort. There are over 15 5-star hotels there. On paper, they're all good. Otherwise, you wouldn't work with them. But we have been inside and around them and onto every level and floor and know which way they face and their actual access to the piste. So yes, it might be, oh, I can book that myself, but do you know the differences? They're very, very different from the top to the bottom. There's something for everyone, which I think is very good, and that's not just the style and the experience and the service, but also the budget. So we do want to still help the hotels, and very much can, but I think you understand what a hotel product is. I don't want to bore you with that or repeat that. So luxury chalet experience. Who is this for? I think in general, it's slightly bigger groups is where this is. If you just got one group, say a family, 2 adults, 2 children, a hotel tends to be more suitable because of economies of scale. But when you get to 2 families or 3 families or multi-generational celebrations, we're doing more people doing 40th, 50th, 70th gatherings over festive because they're getting their friends from all around the world or family from different countries. This is where this private home, this private chalet experience is really, really suitable. And the reason people like it is effectively they are getting their own exclusive privacy and service to match in this house, in this chalet for a week. You're not sharing with anyone. That's why it's so exciting. A hotel is wonderful, but you've always got someone else to share it with. And they really are like mini hotels. There's a full team of staff behind you. If you look on the left-hand side there, so they have their chalet managers, which also have full concierge service, private chefs to cook any type of food, kind of anything, any cultural differences, any dietary differences, whatever it might be. These chefs are of the highest standard to be able to do that. Obviously, you want to be looked after when you're there, and food needs to be served and drinks need to be poured. So they come with butlers, hosts, hostesses, different words, effectively meaning the same thing, but to make sure you're very comfortable. Daily housekeeping, just like you get in your hotel. Your room is made after you've gone out. It is made again later in the day if you've gone down for dinner. Just think actually what you would expect in your hotel, but in a private home. Chauffeurs and driving services. This is quite important because not every chalet is positioned ski in, ski out, or right in the center of town. Could be a combination. So they all have a driving service, so available to the clients at all times of the day, and some of it's 24 hours, but generally covering the hours that you would need. So it is ski in, ski out, for example, the property, so you go off skiing in the morning, but you end up somewhere else because you're having a bit of après ski or you're in a restaurant somewhere and actually don't want to ski that afternoon but would like to go directly back to chalet, you can just contact the driving service and they'll come and pick you up. And then I put in nannies and childcare to suit, very much available too. Some people travel with their own nannies and childcare. Some of our clients say, look, that's actually quite a good excuse to give them a holiday for a week or a break. Can you find something? So yes is the answer. So chef is there for, basically they come generally half board, but some can be full board to include lunch. So generally breakfast and dinner. So you wake up, someone probably bring you tea, coffee in bed, if that is what you like. You go down, there's breakfast, the children will be there without you having to worry about it, being fed and looked after and getting ready for a day skiing. All the menus can be discussed and tailored to your needs, whether you want fine dining or just simple food. You might be going out for amazing lunch somewhere, so you might want something more relaxing in the evening. Everything can be tailored to your requirements. Yes, you've had breakfast, then it's time to go skiing. If the children have lessons or guides, they might meet at the chalet. So you haven't even got to get up, actually, if you don't want to. You can stay in bed and you can go and come out later. They'll be taken off skiing and you can join them as the day progresses. It'll all be arranged for you. Now, obviously, it is about skiing, and that's crucial. And so we are very much there to help and arrange all aspects of skiing. But we also appreciate not everyone is skiing all day, every day. And there are other things you can do in ski resorts. Or there are just people who are non-skiers. My father used to come out skiing. He didn't ski, but he wanted to meet us for lunch, and that was crucial for him. So he made sure we would arrange to meet a place that a non-skier could get to. So it's all very flexible to meet your requirements.
Rupert, there is a couple of questions about the chalets that I wanted to address. So the first one is a tricky one because knowing how amazing the chalets are and have seen everything that is in your portfolio, some of these advisors are wondering, well, of course, this is geared to a ski season. Do you have access to these chalets off ski season? Let's just say summertime.
Absolutely. Very good question. Alpine summer is beautiful, and it's just the season is just about to start, actually. We're sort of in the spring season now, but yes, we do. So
perfect.
A good number of these properties are available for the Alpine summer, definitely.
Great. And then on that note, do you have, are any of these properties wheelchair accessible?
Yes, they are. Sadly, not all, because that would be just something. But yes, and certainly, actually, the requirements to build new properties now, which some of these are brand new in that sense, the last couple of years, have to have access to wheelchair, and we have a list of those.
Great. And then are they, like, I love all these questions. And then are these properties mainly exclusive to Oxford, or can the advisors or the clients mainly see them in other, channels?
It's a bit of a mixture, I'll be honest. They are not exclusive to us in general. Some of them are, but most of them available. The owner might have their own website, for example. Let's just say they do. And it would be right to. If I was an owner, I would do that too. But I guess the most important bit is we only work with properties whereby it is only operated by one person. So it is the owner or that one person. So you can't just rent it and parachute different people in each week. It keeps a consistency and level of service. And the other crucial bit, and coming on to this now, is yes, if the client found that elsewhere, and let's say we were putting it forward and it was a festive week and it was $45,000 for the week, it would be exactly the same as if they found it elsewhere. So it's most importantly, the pricing is a parity and it's very level.
That's what,
and I think that's the concern.
Yeah, that's the concern. I think, David, that's what he was actually going for.
Yeah,
because I think that in general, it's a compensation. Yeah.
It is. There's never a markup by working with the Oxford Ski Company, if that's the most basic way of putting it. But if you're in touch with us, one question we ask early on is, can we have the client name? And it's important to note that is respected with all privacy and confidentiality, and we're never going to contact the client. If we behave like that, we wouldn't be here after 25 years. But it is quite good because it means we can then register it potentially with that property, because if, for example, the client did find that property directly, it's going to get steered back in our direction and therefore your direction. So a bit of transparency and openness is important.
Great. Yeah, that's what David was going after. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Keep asking. Nancy, come in. That'd be great.
I will.
So yes, so it's basically something for everyone. You know, it's not just about the skiing, as I mentioned. These chalets are incredible private homes. So if you look at them also when you come back off the mountains and come back in them, they have facilities which are kind of second to none. They have full spas, and with that, obviously, the therapists to come with it. They have pools, indoor, outdoor swimming pools. Some of them have bigger pools than some of the best five-star hotels. They have games rooms. You know, you can see this one here. They have billiard tables, you know, football tables. Anything you can think of is there. They have bowling alleys, nightclubs. We have private parties where they bring in DJs. There's whole DJ booths. They're kind of, perhaps if you looked at the analogy of the yachting or the super yacht world, there are the lovely boats and then there are the super yachts. They go up in that level to some of the most incredible properties. But what is so special, I think, about them is this space is all yours, and this is what clients love. And if they haven't experienced this before, they keep wanting to come back. They don't see a need to want to share this with anyone else, and it is truly special. Yes, as I said, we've got 700 of these properties on our books, but there's a big variety, and our job is to tailor make and work out which one is best suited to the client. I've mentioned the food. Some of these chefs are regularly poached by our clients because they're so good. So we have to try and hold them back at least until the end of the ski season. I guess we could say that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
as long as they don't take them literally with them at the end of the week.
Rupert, what are for like peak season, like festive season, etc.? What are, give or take, the cancellation policies for some of these chalets?
So generally, chalets are about a 25% deposit on, you know, if you book now, say tomorrow for festive, it'll be a 25% non-refundable deposit. And then the full payment or balance of payment normally is one balance payment, and that's about 8 to 10 weeks prior to the start of the holiday. That's the average. There are variations. So they are stricter than hotels, for example. But I imagine it's because they've got to have some commitment. You know, a hotel room, 2 people, to cancel it quite last minute, it's not a problem. But to cancel a whole week for festive, which takes more organisation and planning to resell it, is why those terms are a bit stricter.
Right.
So yes, I think I mentioned food can be, and most, so there is a mixture. Some of the food is included in sort of food and drink, you know, breakfast, dinner, food, wine, basic spirits are included. That's probably the more middle of these middle entry level of these chalets. As you go further up the price bracket into properties of 100,000+ perhaps a week, then it's a bit like a yacht again. You're just paying for food and drink on top, and you pay at the end of your stay, which actually suits a lot of clients very well because they can really choose the level of food they want to have. They can go fine dining, or they can just go simple. You just pay for what you got. The staff will do any of it for you. That is all included. It's just the food and drink groceries will be at the end. They come in different shapes and sizes and styles. They're individual homes. I think in general, they have quite an alpine theme, but there's modern alpine and there's very traditional alpine. And some are very style-led. Some are, you know, designed interiorly and architecturally by some of the best designers in the world. And I know from experience that some will go, that's not for me, or that is for me, or I'm in the mountains, I want to feel something quite alpine. What have you got in that more traditional? So our job again is to discuss this with you and to find out what exactly the sort of thing the client's after and try and get the perfect match. I will share this slide anyway, but this is just going on and was going to give an example, quite a good example of the varieties of styles. We look at the Petit Palais on the right, which is quite modern, contemporary, to Chalet du Cray in the middle top, which is an amazing converted farmhouse, so a bit more traditional in the way it looks. So why book with us? I've mentioned that it's our experience, our expertise, and our service. Just moving on to the practicalities of working together. And I think probably in most cases we'll be working with you directly, and you'll be directly working with your client. So you give us a call, we discuss, the information, we help steer you through the questions and the information that we need, dates, numbers of people, the obvious bits of information, but there's a lot more we can get in there. And then we'll come back to you with the proposal within 24 hours is our aim, or the same day. And you discuss this with your client, and that's how it works. But at the same time, I know sometimes for whatever reason, it could be last minute, they want to travel in 3 days' time. I think there's a lot of talk, I see Nat, you're smiling, about last minute bookings. There might not be time for it to go in a three-way conversation. It might be, look, let's all get on the phone together. Can our sales guys and you and the client just sit there and discuss it together? And that is the most efficient way. It might be then that you still handle the booking after that. I guess I mentioned that sometimes it can be more efficient for all parties. And I think productivity, efficiency, speed is often of the essence. And it's lovely that when we do have our agent or advisor who is happy for us to also be discussing it with the client, just to get to the end goal quicker. Because it's just more complicated than landing in the Maldives in a beautiful atoll. Sometimes that is the best way. But again, it's your client. We're never going to contact them. After the event, it's all that's hugely respected. Our CRM is very. We use Salesforce, our CRM, so we can really make sure we respect that privacy.
I just want to address that quickly, because this is a conversation that we have had a couple of times for advisors that are perhaps a bit more hesitant about putting the traveler directly with Rupert and Rupert's team. The one thing that we stand for is obviously how transparent the company is. So as soon as the advisor puts the client with the team, there is obviously by name alone. If the client was to come back solo, Rupert's team will go back to the advisor to advise that the client has come and has asked, and et cetera, et cetera. So there is a level of transparency, and more so a level of a partnership, that it's basically the biggest point of the relationships that Rupert has created and curated for all these years. So I just want to speak the obvious and clear the air.
Thank you. But it is really important to speak the obvious, and it's crucial for us, because in the heat of a moment, a client could be, you've had it. I'm sure they're leaving the hotel and go, great, we're going to come back next year. The hotel will let us know, or any information like that we know, or if we hear anything from the client saying, I'm definitely going back, we're going to let you know. It's a long-term relationship, and that's exactly what is really, we're not in this for the short term. 25 years being and gone, another 25 years is what I'd like to do.
Awesome.
This information sheet, it's fairly obvious, but as to what one needs to ask, I think the only bit I'd like to put out of this is, what are the crucial holiday dates in Europe? It's festive period, so that's sort of 2 or 3 weeks over the new year is a peak period, the peak periods. But the season starts, same as Northern Hemisphere, same as North America, Northern Hemisphere. Season starts, sort of beginning, middle of December. The higher altitude resorts starting earlier than the lower altitude resorts, but everything's fully open by just before festive. European holidays are sort of mid to end of February. They move a bit each year, but it's roughly that time. So that's also a peak period. So actually, lovely time to go skiing is sort of middle, end of January, even early February, for those who aren't held by particular holiday periods. And then again, after February, so middle, end of March is a great time, still good snow, weather's getting a bit warmer, great time to be there. And then Easter is the Easter holidays, or that period. It's a sort of, it's not peak, it's just a tier below that. But actually the season stays open until sort of middle of April, and in the higher altitude resorts like Val d'Isère or Zermatt, you're looking at the end of April. So it's a long season to sell. I know spring break was quite popular actually, or seemed to be getting more popular with families in the US last year taking their children out for a quick cheeky, 4 or 5 days in Europe, depending on where they're based. That leads me on to the dates. In general, over peak periods, it's a 7-night booking. It's a minimum 7-night stay, generally weekend to weekend. It depends on how things fall. But there is a bit of flexibility in that. And our job is to steer you to where it can be flexible. And certainly outside of peak, a shorter stay, 4 or 5 nights is definitely possible, or a long weekend, or whatever it might be. So, but festive peak dates is going to be a bit more rigid. Pricing, budget, as you know, in the 5-star hotel world, there's a huge budget gap here, or not budget, range is the right word. We're starting sort of 35 to 45,000, moving up to about 100 plus, but some of the top properties are, 200, 300,000 for the week. They're the super yachts in the top resorts like Courchevel at New Year. This is quite an important slide based on the fact that, okay, so we talked about accommodation mostly, but do not worry, we're going to handhold you through all aspects of their stay. Arriving in the resort, how do they get from the airport, which is the best airport to fly into, whether it's a commercial or private flight, what are the best ways to then get from the airport, how far are they from the airport? Some people don't want to travel so far. They're anything between 1 and 2 hours, roughly, as an average. But if you get in a helicopter, it's going to be 15 to 30 minutes. I think the key elements we probably arrange for clients are the airport transfers, the ski instruction, and the childcare, things like so ski lessons, ski equipment hire and skis. That's all just standard, and passes are standard. But those are the key elements. And then also, I suppose, the next one is restaurant recommendations, where to book. Certainly for bigger groups and festive periods, we would recommend booking some of the lunches or dinners if they're eating out or up the mountain. This slide, there is a lot of talk about this, and it's very true, and I have some better stats I could perhaps share afterwards with you. At the moment, it's a lot cheaper to be buying ski passes and booking ski instruction in the Alps. It's about sort of between 40 and 60% cheaper than if you're buying in the US, which is actually, if you multiply that with a family of 5, whatever, that's quite a big saving. So there's definitely opportunities gained in saving money by skiing in France than it is in skiing in Aspen, for example. It's not to knock skiing in North America, because it's amazing, but it's just a fact. That's how it is at the moment. Private ski instructors for a day are about, I think, about can be up to $1,000 in the US, and they're about 500 in Europe. So quite a big difference.
It's a big difference. And Rupert, can you speak a little bit just in general, but also about pricing? David had a question about Japan as well. So when you're looking at pricing, what are we looking at? Same, more, higher, lower?
In Japan or in general?
Well, specifically, let me just read you exactly, but specifically for Japan was the question for Niseko.
Yeah, I mean, it can be the same. There's quite a big range. The challenge with Japan at the moment is the prices are increasing fast. as you probably know, is a very popular destination, whether it's the winter or the summer. It's just gone through the roof. You know, for example, festive for this winter is nearly fully booked up. In the kind of top end of it, you'll find stuff middle, lower, but in the top end, we're already advising clients to move to another year if they can. Otherwise, they'll be compromising. But it is not dissimilar to the Alps, and you know, there's definitely a bit of a budget range there. As I say, you know, we've got clients spending in a chalet family, 2 families, 8, 10 people, 40, 50,000, but also some spending 150, 200,000. So there's a bit of something for everyone.
And is there plenty of options when it comes down to Japan skiing in terms of chalets?
No, it's nothing. Mostly hotels. There's a few private chalets and some lovely apartments, but we're talking a handful compared to, you know, what you have in Courchevel 1850 in France. You know, we probably access to 70 or 80 amazing chalets. It's just not a project that really exists in Japan. The odd one coming through, but most people we're sending there are in a hotel.
Okay, great.
A few bits. Oh, let me do that. Yes, a few last couple of bits. Then basically, you know, language barrier. I mentioned this because do not worry, everyone in Europe speaks English perfectly. So skiing. So people say, I'm worried about being in France. My children don't speak French. About ski lessons. Do not worry. That's fine. That's easy. We can find instructors for all nationalities, all languages. Commission, very simple. Share it, split it equally down with you, down the middle. And we can tell you at the time what that would be, so we can discuss it. Because I'd love to set fixed at a certain amount of, you know, 10% or whatever it might be, but actually peak dates and off-peak dates, there are variations. But most importantly, we can tell you at the time, so you know what you would be getting. If we propose something to you, we can tell you what you would be getting for that property. We do not mark anything up, but if you're controlling your client, I don't know how you handle them. That is up to you. Chalet contracts are signed. They're set. They're not just one contract. There's separate contracts for each property. So we can explain that to you. It's just because they're private homes, really. And I think I mentioned about the deposit structure. It's 25% in general, and then 60-ish days. And that is us.
Rupert, I do have a quick question. I know I've had advisors ask before about experience level on European slopes versus in the US. How is the ski experience different, and are beginner skiers just as likely to have a great experience in Europe, or is it generally for the more experienced skier?
There's absolutely something for everyone. So there really is. There's really good beginner areas, amazing ski schools, amazing nursery slopes, as we call them, right the way through the range to the cruisy intermediate up to the more high-level advanced. The difference is some resorts probably have more opportunity for the really high-level skiers, and some are definitely better for families and beginners. So it's just trying to steer people in that direction.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Any last minute questions for anybody that has joined us? We will send, of course, this recording over email. You will, of course, have Rupert's information on that email as well. I just wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to learn a little bit more about Oxford Ski Company. There's a lot more than we can talk about, but I think the biggest take here, aside from the few facts, honestly, the experience and the passion that comes out of Rupert's, you know, presentation, I think is pretty palpable. So I'm very excited about I see a lot of familiar faces on this participation. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Rupert, any last words before we close this?
Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure. Appreciate organising it. Just lastly, you know, we are very actively making bookings for next winter. So it is fully open and being booked up. I know it's not on everyone's minds, but certainly if you have larger groups, they need to be encouraged to think about it earlier rather than later, just because there's more choice. The best things always get booked up first.
course. Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.